So we're at an hour and 18 minutes. But it's rare to, get 1200s action, so not that I even play this that much, but so yeah, interesting. Yeah, this is a reasonable candidate for non-all-in 3-bet. His style, the way I see it right now, if the stats are accurate, is pretty similar to how I remember pretty good players, just in general, both now and like a year ago. I don't see a huge change. One thing that I've seen maybe more players do is limp a bit more, but yeah, I don't see anything excessively different. Like, oh, now they're all limping 100%, and then 3-bet shoving 50% or, something crazy. Obviously, it wouldn't make sense to do that, so they don't. But I'm just saying, people always worry about, oh, the games are getting so tough, and it's so hard, and well, I meant to do 1/3, but whatever. And in fact, I don't know that it's changing so much for the good players that it's at this breakneck pace and you can't keep up. I think it's more just changing in the fact that weaker players are getting a bit closer to good players, but it's not like the good players have changed their styles that hugely. At least not in my experience. Man, this is such an odd situation. Okay, so I have 9 outs that are likely good, but it could be a little bit tainted. And he's betting, I think, 1/3 pot or so. So 1/3 pot, and yeah. Then, all right. So if I have 9 outs, it means 18%, around there. And 1/3 pot. So half pot, you have to be good like 25%. So 1/3 pot is probably pretty close to 18%, if not exactly. And yeah, now I'm actually gonna be trying to bluff that. I don't have to make it huge, so I'll be betting 120. He has 7, probably. No, he has Queen Jack. Wow, okay, he checked. But yeah, I mean, he could have plenty of draws himself and then just decide not to be bluffing all in there. Even though that's not his tendency so far, he has been going all in quite a bit on the rivers. So, good inducing play from him. I actually really like that because, again, like I have quite a number of draws, and those would want to be bluffing sometimes. Though I would definitely be having a jack sometimes there. As you saw, I did call some top pairs too. But it's especially good that he did that now when I was raising him on the flop more. Because that obviously weights my range to fewer top pairs, since I'm probably going to be trying to balance that above bluffs and strong hands. I'm trying to figure out if he'd fold a 7 or a 3 here. I think he could fold a 7, but he's kind of unlikely to. And yeah, okay. So I'll just go in. Because he doesn't have that many kings, he'd probably be 3-bet shoving. So he's mostly down to a 7, a 10 that shows up randomly, and yeah, maybe a 3 that got really stubborn. So yay, I get a hand that actually allows me to make a bluff. Huh. Yeah, I kind of want to show this, but I'll just check it this time. Check, hopefully. Maybe he has ace high. And that's one advantage of checking in a way, that players with weaker hands. I could have bet there. Sorry about that. Players with weaker hands that do have showdown value, so you actually beat, tend to not want to be betting there. So you don't actually have such a hugely difficult decision if they bet. It's like, oh no, he's trying to bluff me, and because I checked. But most of the time when you're actually good, they won't really be betting. So yeah, well, at least that's the way I've seen players do play a lot of those spots. this could be like a 5-parter or something. I don't know how long it's gonna go, but I will quit him in an hour at the latest, and probably earlier, because I think he'll probably quit at some point, since he's not really sitting in the lobbies, so that makes me think that he was at the tail end of the session and just saw, okay, well, somebody's playing me at really high stakes, so let me give it a shot. So far, he's never ISOing me in a non-all-in way, so that's kind of interesting. I will shove Queen 4 suited over limp. I think that's completely fine. He's limping 37%, but he's open shoving quite a few strong hands. This is also perfectly reasonable to open shove. I just, like I said, I hate that there's so many spots where the result is determined by just pure variance. Like if you have king 10, he has ace 10 or whatever, and you know it's 10 big blinds. So I like to try to see more flops if possible, because that gives more of an opportunity for the better player to make more optimal decisions. Whether it's me or not, I still prefer to maximize the potential result of skill in the game. If I'm not the better player, then I probably will stop playing a certain player like whatever X is that I feel is superior to me. But I will learn more from seeing him play in those spots too. So yeah, you could just go Nash and whatever, but that won't be making anyone money. I feel like betting at the stack depth is probably pretty annoying for the out of position player. Because yeah, I mean, that's like the only thing you can do, and I know he doesn't do this very much. So I am calling, not because of, oh my god, like I'm so good. No, but because he actually has not been raising there very much. And while that's true, the times he has shown up with a strong hand, he's often had top paired that he just called. Like I remember I had Jack 7 versus 10-7, and he just called the flop. So I don't believe him when he's raising there, even if it's a pretty crappy hand. I feel like I do have enough information now that I can make that call occasionally, and sometimes have a bluff. Sometimes I won't, but I had 2 overs as well, and so it's not like that. He declined. Just when I was starting to run a bit better. Okay, that's enough for the video. But or not. Well, I'll start a new session maybe, but I won't do it on the same video file. Yeah, I mean, the point is, okay, it's Queen Deuce 4. He's probably shoving over my limp, so something like 4-5 suited, and a couple other 4s like Ace 4, King 4, especially King 4 suited, and so it was like 13 big blinds, and the Deuce again, like some of them are being shoved, so they're not necessarily playing a huge role, and he's essentially never raising, and if he is, he's going to still be bluffed out probably on the turn. Yeah, so I don't think he's going to be raising a deuce very much there, getting into trouble a lot. He's good enough not to be doing that too much. So 4, you could raise sometimes sort of for protection, but again, like you put yourself in a tough spot if you're just inflating the pot while in that situation. So I think that hand would also be bluffed out pretty easily on the turn, even with just a 1/3 bet like I made, or around there. And yeah, Queen, like I said, such a dry board, and just what I've seen him show up with sometimes at Showdown makes me think that it isn't such a huge threat, partly because of, sorry, I'm just looking at something, partly because of the fact that he's calling some top pairs, secondly because of the dryness of the board, and lastly because of the fact that Queen is itself a pretty decent high card, and he will probably be shoving a number of lower queens that are suited for just simple fold equity, and he'll be shoving some of the stronger queens too, like I think Queen 9 suited, Queen 10 off plus at the very least, would be just shoved there. Maybe sometimes he'll just call them to try to say, you know, oh, I have this one queen 10 in my range or whatever that it didn't raise. But overall, there are so many queens that are discounted. So that's why I feel like the buff's pretty good. And the other thing that is just kind of tangential is that it is a high card. So that means on the turn, the situation for him won't be changing very much. If I have a queen, I'm obviously beating him in most of the situations. And if I don't, again, like, he's unlikely to improve. Like, does he have a king in his range? No. Almost never. So, yeah, okay, like, yeah, he has king 6 and lower probably. But whatever, very few kings. Very few aces, if any. So, yeah, pocket pairs probably, again, not too many. So, there aren't really that many cards that would scare me, but they could all be more likely to be in my range. Like if an ace comes, if a king comes, even if I was bluffing, or just, you know, calling the floating, whatever, like I can hit more than he can, and he should expect me to continue value betting a queen if a king or an ace come as well. So it's not one of the situations where, you know, a scare card is not really a scare card, like Phil Galfond once said. Sometimes because of the range is the way they play it. Like the person might be betting as if he has, you know, turn ace or whatever, but he in fact would not based on his tendencies. So I'm really starting to ramble. I'm gonna try to end this, but my point is just that it's a lockdown type of board where I will be, if I have the best hand, I will be perceived as continuing to have the best hand. It's not a super wet board that, oh, you know, suddenly he got a straight or a flush or you know, high carded me. Like if it was 10 4 deuce or 9 4 deuce, that is actually much riskier float, even though it seems similar, just because he can actually hit a lot of the overs more if he was bluffing. Okay, so that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's an hour and 30 minutes. I've just been trying to get back into things, and yeah, I hope to do more videos that are interesting to all you guys. You can give me suggestions. I also hope to not lose every game, essentially, at 600s, 1200s, 360s, whatever that I'm playing in the video. That does not make, you know, for the most profitable videos ever. I'm not actually getting paid too much for a video to justify that. But yeah, I do like playing regular. It's just that normally I would not want to be playing 1200s. It's just that he left the lobby for the others. Okay, enjoy your games and good luck. Thank you. Katipo out.